like humor. You may watch films, you may read stories. How many of you like humorous films? Most of you, right? Yes, even I like humor so much. So, humor is that thing that makes our life fun, right? So, there is a famous quote that the one who doesn't smile is the real poor man. So, now there are many authors who contributed their works to create such fun, to bring that kind of smile in someone's life. Okay, before I show you the lesson, let me show you something about the author. So, this particular lesson, The Snake and the Mirror, is written by Mr. Bashir. So, here we have some explanation about Mr. Bashir, some information regarding him. Yes. So, Waikom Muhammad Bashir. So, he was born in the year 1908 and he passed away in the year 1994. He was a Malayalam fiction writer from the state of Kerala in India. So, what is fiction? That is not exactly real, that can be imagined, which is filled with some kind of magical or related things. He was a humanist, freedom fighter, novelist, and a short story writer. He is noted for his down to earth style of writing that made him equally popular among literary critics as well as the common man. So, here, particularly the word down to earth, what does that mean, children? Down to earth is the one who doesn't have any doubt, who always remember his roots, who never talks proudly. Now, even this was visible in his style of writing. For that reason, he was very popular among not only literary critics but also among the common man. So, most of the common people used to like him because of that, and because of that writing style. Literary criticism is one of that which differentiates the best writings. So, he was always appreciated by such literary activists. He is regarded as one of the most successful and outstanding writers from India. Translations of his work into other languages have won him worldwide acclaim. Acclaim is again appreciation. So, sometimes, children, when we are limited to our own area, it will be known to only that area people. But when it is into the worldwide well-known language, then it will be known to the world itself. So the same happened. All his writings, when they were translated into English, people of other states, other countries started recognizing the beauty of his works, and he started getting more name and fame. In other words, I can use the same word which is given here, acclaim, through these works. The story, The Snake and the Mirror, was translated into English. So the story which we are right now reading was translated by Mr. Abdullah. His notable works included Balyakala Sakhi, Shabdangal, Mathilukal, and Anarga Nimisham. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1982. He is fondly remembered as Baipur Sultan. So most of the people used to call him with that name. So now, children, let us proceed to the actual lesson. So before we start, we have a small work here. So look at the picture and answer the following questions that follow. Can you see the picture? What do you see in that? You can see a monkey watching itself in a mirror. How many of you like to see yourself in a mirror? Hope many of you. I know many of the children even see themselves even when they cry. So before we start, we have a small work here. So look at the picture and answer the following questions that follow. Can you see the picture? What do you see in that? You can see a monkey watching itself in a mirror. How many of you like to see yourself in a mirror? Hope many of you. I know many of the children even see themselves even when they cry. So now here, we are not talking about human beings, we are talking about animals. So you might have noticed that even animals would like to see themselves in the mirrors. Some of them can understand that it is their own reflection. Some of the animals may take it as the other one. You might have heard in your childhood, right? That the lion watches his own reflection in the water and imagines that it is another lion and it fails to fight with it and jumps into the well. But here the story is a bit different. Now, most of us love to see our own reflection, right? And we start to love ourselves. Some of the times, we may fall in love with our own beauty, isn't it? But does that happen with the animals? We don't know actually because animals do not communicate. But let us see what happens if such kind of thing happens. Okay? Now, let us proceed to the questions that followed this picture. What would have prompted the monkey to look at its own reflection in the mirror? So what would have made him to prompt it is that forced him to do this work. So what it can be? Maybe the monkey is passing by that way and suddenly it came. Or the monkey loves to watch it regularly, or it might have come there. The second question, what could be the monkey thinking at this point? Maybe looking at the smile, he loves to do the actions and see the same actions by the reflection and he is laughing at that. Or he may be impressed with the other monkey or the reflection. Okay, so here you are expected to give a small speech on the role of humor in our life. Children, what points would you like to add if you are supposed to give the speech on this particular topic? So why humor is very important in the life? Yes, of course, because human being is very addicted to have all the types of feelings, emotions, etc. In other words, you might have heard the word navarasa. So all the types of emotions are very important to human being. And some of them makes him excited, some of them makes him sad, some of them makes him feel so happy. And it is humor that makes him relaxed. I hope I'm very correct at this point and all of you would agree with me. And now, let us read the story in which a doctor describes a snake that looks into a mirror. Children, before I start the lesson, let me tell you that this story basically started in first person and gradually it converts to third and then again to first person. So what is first person? Let me make it clear here. So first person is the one which is written with the word I. Okay. So these are pronouns first person, second person, third person. So first person is always I for me, and for you, you are the first person. Now, when you are listening to me, you are my second person, and when I am listening to you, I'm your second person. Okay? Now, third person, the one who is not between us. Okay? Now, if someone is out of the conversation and we are talking about him or her, then we can either say he is sitting there or she is listening the song, etc. So it shows that they are not part of our conversation. So that makes them third person. Okay. And now when the story is written in first person, the narrator narrates the story in such a way that he is talking to us. I have listened to that. I asked that person. Now, it is like a direct speech to us. Now, let us proceed to the lesson, the snake and the mirror. The title itself shows you about which animal we are going to talk about, isn't it? The snake and the mirror. So here just now I spoke about the mirror and you might have understood what exactly I'm going to talk about. Now look at the picture. What can you see in the picture? You can see a man sitting in front of a mirror with one coat and a vest, that is a banyan beside that, a lamp. Here, maybe there is no power in the house. And apart from these things, I can also notice so many rags here, and also one more thing here. What is that? The tail part of something, that is a hero of the lesson, that is the snake. Okay, now children, has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us felt silent. So, what this word all of us, that means the narrator is listening to someone. Okay. Now, what did that person question the narrator and his group? Has a snake ever coiled? Coiled is, you might have seen mosquito coil, round and round and round. Okay. Any part of your body, children, has it ever happened to you? A full-blooded cobra. So generally, where do we use full-blooded cobra? To show that it is very strong and furious. Okay, here to emphasize that it is very furious and very strong and very dangerous. All of us felt silent. The question came from the homeopath. Now, this sentence shows that who is the speaker of that sentence. Okay, now a homeopath was stating this sentence. So that means a lecturer is talking to his students and our narrator is part of the students. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. So that day, the teacher was actually talking, or the professor was actually talking regarding snakes. So, obviously, it's very common with most of the teachers to share their experiences related to the pertinent topic. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. So, what is the tale here? They understood that the narrator, I mean, the professor, is going to narrate some story here. Tale is nothing but a story. So, they became very attentive, just like most of you. Isn't it? When your teacher shares some story, all of you become so attentive, right? The same way. It was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. So he started narrating the story here. Now, who is uttering these words? The homeopath. Now, who is the first person for us? The homeopath. We have to understand that wherever I is used here, it is not a author, but it is the homeopath. Now, the setting. So you can understand, even in the picture, you can see the moon and stars, etc. Can you? Yes. So it is night 10 o'clock. It's about night 10 o'clock. I had my meal at a restaurant and returned to my room. So we understand with this word that he is alone. So he couldn't cook for himself. That is the reason he takes his meal at a restaurant. And he came back to his room. He didn't call it as home or house, but it's just a room. So this clearly shows that he is not married or he is staying all alone. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. What do you think the noise is? The sound was familiar one. So what is familiar? Which is already known. Familiar means one could say that rats and I shared the room. So here the author humorously mentions that there are so many rats in the room, which you can see in the picture, and they are also sharing the room of this narrator. I took my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. And this line states that there was no electricity in the house, so he needs to use the kerosene lamp. And the sound was very familiar because of that reason that the author or the narrator already know why the sound is. So he is not afraid of that noise. Now, the house was not electrified. So here we can say that the house was not having any kind of electricity provision. It was a small rented room. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager. You should pronounce it as meager. So, what is the meaning of meager? They were very less, and just now he started his medical practice. He started working as a doctor, which is called medical practice, and now he is not earning very high because of that. His earnings are very low. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase. So at that moment, it was the story belongs to very long period ago. Now, at that time, 60 rupees was a very big amount, which was sufficient to lead 1 month. So, apart from that amount, what else does he have? Along with some shirts and dhotis. So, he's having some more shirts and dhotis in his suitcase, along with this 60 rupees. I also possessed one solitary black coat, which I was then wearing. So actually in this picture, it is given that the coat is hanging. But according to the sentence here, he was wearing when this story was narrated or when this story was happening. Okay, and that is the only coat he possessed. How can you understand that? Because of this particular word, solitary. I took off my black coat, white shirt, and not so white vest and hung them up. Now, what did he do? He just removed them and then he kept it there as you can see in the picture. He hung three of them, a shirt, white shirt, black coat, and a not so white. What does that mean? Not so white. That means it is old one because of several washings that did not remain as white as the new. It changed its color. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. So this particular room, wherever he is residing, is the outer room. That means he can see all the outside area, particularly from one wall we're facing the open yard, completely open. No other house is at that side. It had, so here the description of the house is happening. It had a tiled roof with long supporting gables. So can you see here? These are the gables. Okay. Now it's a tiled roof. So you can see red tiles and others. It is not the tiles which you are using for the floor. There are different tiles which are used for the roof. If you go to any villages, you can see them, or even in certain areas in the city also, you can see them. Okay, roof tiles they're called. Now supporting gables that rested on the beam over the wall. So on the beam of the wall, it rested. No, it rested means it took the support. Okay. There was no ceiling. Ceiling is whatever you are having. We are under the flat ceilings, which are called slabs, constructed using cement and other material. Okay, that was not such type of ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. So here, why did he use the word traffic? Because they keep on moving there and here. So what is traffic? The vehicles keep on moving there and here, isn't it? So such kind of passing is happening, but here they are not vehicles, but here it is the implied meaning, children. This is called, okay? Throughout the beam, throughout the roof, whatever he talked about. So these rats use the beam, okay, and they enter the roof part. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. So you can see the bed here, which is attached to the wall. I got up and went out to veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. So what is taken time off? He is on leave, maybe. Okay, taken time off is the phrasal verb where you are relaxing, you are not doing your work. Then we use the phrasal verb. So here he funnily, humorously uses this particular thing that even the wind god is taking his relaxation time now. So there is no wind, and at that particular moment, as you can see that the house is not electrified, there was no fan also, isn't it? So he has to completely depend on the natural wind. I went back into the room and sat down on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out a book, the Materia Medica. So, this is a medical book which they keep on studying, most of the doctors. I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror, a small comb. Here you should not read it as comb because B is silent here. You should pronounce it a small comb lay beside the mirror. So here, the same things you can observe in the picture also here. He is reading a book and there is a mirror and there is a small comb and the lamp you can see here. Now, proceeding with the lesson, one feels tempted to look into a mirror when it is near. Obviously, right, when you are sitting in front of a mirror, definitely your eyes go there. Even the narrator did the same thing. I took a look. In those days, I was a great admirer of beauty and I believed in making myself look handsome. So, most of the youngsters do this, isn't it? So, being beautiful or being admiring the beauty or trying to look handsome is one of the criteria of the youngsters. It doesn't mean that old people never do that, but it's more in the young age. So, just like many other youngsters, even the narrator was trying to look more handsome. And here, already we have discussed that he is living alone, and he clarifies here I was unmarried and was a doctor. So, of course, doctor bachelors are always in demand, right? I felt I had to make my presence felt. So, here the sentence indicates that I really feel that I have to make myself the presence felt. That means I should not neglect myself. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting. So, what is parting? When you separate your hair, the gap you can see, the skull part you can see, okay, that skin, that is called parting, okay. And he tried to look neat and so that it looked straight and neat. So, he made his parting very straight and neat. Again, I heard that sound from above. So, what was that sound? That was the sound of the rats. I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. Children, I want everyone to be more attentive at this because really these were rather important. Okay, hope you understood the irony in my smile. I would shave daily and grow a thin mustache to look more handsome. So, what were the two important decisions? To shave daily. Okay, and then the second one is that he would start growing a thin mustache so that he may look more handsome. I was, after all, a bachelor and doctor. So I should be more handsome. I should be always appreciated by many of the spinsters, that means unmarried girls. I looked into the mirror and smiled. It was an attractive smile. So he started appreciating his own beauty, looking at the mirror. I made another earth shaking decision. Why is that word earth shaking? So it is a small hyperbole. That means here he is just exaggerating the things. Earth shaking decisions here. Do you really think the earth shakes because of his decisions? No. It is just to emphasize the reader. Okay. And let me tell you what is that important, very earth shaking decision. That is, I would always keep that attractive smile on my face. So he liked that smile when he was looking at the mirror. So he thought he must keep that smile forever so that he to look more handsome. I was after all a bachelor and doctor too on top of it. So not only just bachelor but also a doctor on top of it. Again came that noise from above. So that noise is continuously disturbing this person from his beautiful planning. I got up, lit a BD, and paced up and down the room. Paced is just walking throughout the room. So then another lovely thought struck me. So, what is this beautiful thing? I would marry. So now he decided that it's the right age for him to get married. I would get married to a woman doctor who had plenty of money and a so not any ordinary girl. He also wants another beautiful, may not be. Let us see whether he wants a beautiful lady or not, because he did not mention that. Had a plenty of money, but she should have a plenty of money. And but also should have a good medical practice. She had to be fat. What is this? Everyone wants someone slim, good looking. There may be some reason behind it, right? Let us learn what is the reason. For a valid reason, he says that the reason is not just something, it's a very valid one. A genuine reason, valid here is. If I made some silly mistake and needed to run away, she should not be able to run after me and catch me. What a great idea, isn't it? So he wants to run away. He wants to commit the mistakes. He wants to run away, but he doesn't want his wife to catch him. Now, because of that, he wants a fat lady. With such thoughts in my mind, I resumed my seat. Resumed is get back. We have already learned that he is walking to and fro. He came back. Resumed my seat in the chair in front of the table. There was no more sound from above. Till now, there was a lot of noise, which is very habitual thing for him. He's habituated for that noise. Suddenly, there came a dull thud, as if a rubber tube had fallen to the ground. So, if a heavy rubber tube falls from that, you can imagine, right? A small thud, that noise. Here, this is an oxymoron, an automobile. Here, he is using the word to give you the noise of that sound. Now, surely nothing to worry about. He couldn't see anything, so he thought, okay, it's some kind of noise. Maybe some rat might have fallen down. Even so, I thought I would turn around and take a look. Sometimes even we feel, maybe nothing, but still we observe and find out what exactly that is, isn't it? The same thing even here, the narrator did. In spite of knowing that it couldn't be anything else, still he wanted to confirm that it's nothing. So he just gave a small turn. Okay. Now, no sooner had it turned than a fat snake wriggled over the back of the chair and landed on my shoulder. So it didn't take much time. No sooner means what? Just it happened at the very same moment. I just turned and immediately a snake, a very fat snake, immediately wriggled. Wriggled is coiling. I told it just came up immediately over the back of the chair and immediately it came to the shoulder part. The snake landing on me and my turning were simultaneous. Simultaneous means at the same time. In very equal time it was. Okay. I'll tell you about this picture after some explanation. What do you do, children, if you face such kind of situation? How do you react? I even can't imagine that situation. It's very terrific for me. But this narrator is very brave according to me. I didn't jump. I didn't tremble. I didn't cry out. That means he didn't give any kind of reaction. There was no time to do such thing. The snake slithered along my shoulder. Slithered means moving. Why the word slithered is given instead of moving? Because it is very slippery body. So generally, the way they move is used as slithered. Okay. Along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm. So it immediately coiled the left arm above the elbow. So the upper part of the left arm was completely coiled and the hood, you can see the hood part of the snake, right? So this kind of structure comes. So that is the hood. So where was that? It completely spread out. So where it is, the snake is normally, it looks like this. So where it spreads out, it completely looks like this, right? And was spread out and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. That means this much near. Isn't it so scary? Oh my God. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. So if I just say that I was not taking the breath and I was sitting, that may be very less to explain. That's not sufficient explanation. I was turned to stone. I felt like as if I'm not any human being. I'm some statue. And nothing is passing. Do you think that there are some veins, intestines, blood passing to a statue? Nothing happens, right? So as if even the same thing here, as if nothing is inside me. And I'm just like that. But my mind was very active. Though I can't feel my body, the mind is still running. The door opened into darkness. So immediately he struck. So if I escape, I can run from that door. The door is open. I need not to open it. So sometime bachao. The room was surrounded by darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. So look at this word. I'm feeling as if I'm a stone, but I do have the flesh, right? So I'm sitting just like the simile here states, the comparison between the stone and the human being, but after all, I do have the flesh. So the narrator says that I'm in the flesh, but I'm like a stone image, which is not at all moving. Can image move? No, right? So I'm just like the stone image, not even just an image, stone image. I felt then the great presence of the creator of this world and the universe. So immediately he remembered whom? God, the creator of this world and this universe. God was there. So how did he say that there was a God? Suddenly, why did he started appreciating God? Suppose I said something and he did not like it. I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words, oh God. Maybe why he remembered the God here is he thinks that God got angry on him. Maybe I might have scolded God, so he got angry, and so he is doing this to me. So now he wants to apologize him, say sorry God. So on his little heart itself, he started imagining that he is writing the word, oh God. See, at certain moments, know how fast our brain starts thinking. There is some pain in my left arm. Obviously, such a strong snake has completely coiled that hand. Doesn't it pain then? It was as if a thick leaden rod. No, a rod made of molten fire. Maybe a rod which is very hot was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. You know that rods, right? We try to catch something, isn't it? So which is very hot already. So that hot one is actually holding, crushing completely. Crushing is pressing it too hard. The arm was beginning to be drained of all strength. The draining is losing completely. How your drainage helps you to lose your wastewater. So here, what is he draining? He's draining all his strength. So he questions himself, what could I do? He didn't react, but he's still facing the snake at this distance. At my slightest moment, the snake would strike me. So at this distance, even if I give a small moment, even the eye blink may make the snake terrified, and it definitely gives the bite, isn't it? Death lurked 4 inches away. Here, death is waiting here at 4 inches. Suppose it struck. So he started even thinking, imagine, it gave a bite. It struck. What was the medicine I had to take? So the doctor instinct inside him started thinking like a doctor, not like a person who is facing the snake. There were no medicines in the room. I was but a poor, foolish, and a stupid doctor. He started scolding himself. I forgot my danger. Actually, when he started thinking about the medicine and he started scolding himself, actually, his mind forgot that the danger is in front of him and he started smiling feebly at myself. Why hear the word feebly? If the smile is appeared on the face, definitely the snake would react, isn't it? So he smiled inside himself and he forgot the danger also at that particular moment. Children, remember this sentence. Maybe in spite of having such a dangerous situation, this person is so positive and this person is laughing at that. Maybe God might be appreciating him for that. So it seemed as if God appreciated that. The snake turned its head. So the snake, because this person, definitely snakes are such a things which do not react when we do not give any reaction. Okay, so children, please remember whenever you face any snake, I don't know how many of you faced, some of you might have already faced. I'm talking about those who did not do that. If you encounter any snake in your life, what is the immediate reaction should be? You should stand very still. Even if it comes very closer to you, just stand very still because the snakes can't hear. Actually, sense the sound but can't hear. So you can shout if you want without the snake's observation, but don't move your arms and legs, okay? So that it will be really helpful. It may divert the snake. Any other movement from the nearby side may attract the snake and it may go away, okay? So this is what you need to do. And luckily, this person knows that and he did the same thing. So something attracted the snake. So as this person is not giving any reaction, the snake got diverted to something. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. I do not claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror. He doesn't know what is the meaning of I do not claim. That means I do not state, I do not mention, okay, that this may not be the very first snake which looked into the mirror, but according to the narrator, he saw first time. But it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. It was certain. What is the meaning of that? He is very sure about it. That the snake is looking into the mirror only, not anything else near the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache or using eyeshadow or mascara or wearing a vermilion spot on its forehead? So we don't know what exactly the snake might be thinking at that particular moment. Just like the narrator, because narrator had decided an earth-shaking decision at that particular moment, or growing the mustache or that and this. So just like the narrator, is it also thinking the same thing? We don't know whether the snake is a boy or girl. So if it is a boy, maybe thinking of mustache, or if it is a girl, maybe eyeshadow or mascara, isn't it? Or wearing a vermilion spot on his forehead, something that makes it look more beautiful. So here, as I said previously, I will show you the previous picture first, which is very relevant here. Okay. So this is the next step of it. I did not know anything for certain. What sex was the snake, whether it is male or female. Was it male or female? I will never know. For the snake unwound itself from my arm and slowly slithered into my lap. So still the eyes are on the mirror, but still the body left the arm and it came to the lap. From there, it crept on the table and moved towards the mirror. Creeping, you say, right? It just started creeping onto the table and then moved towards the mirror. You already know, no? You can imagine that the narrator is sitting very front of the mirror. So it's very easy to climb from that particular path. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection at closer quarter. So quarter is not exactly 1/4. We already know in terms of mathematics, quarter is 1/4. It's when you talk about the place, quarter is the space. From the closer space, maybe it wanted to see its own reflection. It was no mere image cut in granite. Sorry, I was no mere image cut in granite. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. So why suddenly I was no mere? So why suddenly he turned into a man from a stone? Because he already compared himself previously. Because the snake left his body, immediately his brain indicated him that you need to turn into a man, human being, come back to your flesh and blood. What he should do? Still holding my breath, I got up from the chair. I quietly went out through the door into the veranda. Hope you have observed in the previous picture when I have shown, the man was running out of the door while the snake was very busy in observing its own reflection. From there, I crept into the earth and ran off all I was worth. Ran off all I was worth means running is really worthy at that particular moment because he can't afford staying or walking so slow. At that particular moment, anyone runs. Each of us healed. Now the story of the narrator, that means the homeopath, is completed. So listening that story, so excitedly these people were listening to that story. Everyone felt relaxed after listening that the narrator escaped from that situation. Each of us heaved a sigh of relief. Heaved is left with a force. A sigh of relief. Everyone is relieved now. All of us lit BDs. So everyone wanted to be relaxed. So at that moment, BDs were equal to our cigarettes. So they wanted to relax and all the boys started lighting their cigarettes or BDs for the relaxation. Suddenly someone, like most of you ask the questions to your teachers, right? Out of the box. So here also there is a student in such a way. And he asked, doctor, is your wife very fat now? Because he decided at that day that he would marry a fat girl. No, the doctor said, God willed otherwise. My life companion is a thin, reedy person. Reedy is too thin. Only just like a skin is given on the skeleton without any flesh. With a gift of a sprinter. Sprinter is a fast runner. Okay, sprinters actually are different. But here it is a fast runner. Okay, so she can run very fast, unfortunately. Someone else asked, doctor, when you ran, did the snake follow you? The doctor replied, I ran and ran till I reached a friend's house. Immediately, I smeared oil all over my body. Smeared is completely applying. Okay, because you can understand when the snake passes on your body, you can feel a kind of irritation. To overcome that, this person completely applied oil immediately and took a bath. I changed into fresh clothes. The next morning at about 8:30, I took my friend and one or two others to my room to move my things from there. So he decided not to stay in that room anymore. So he wanted to shift his house. The room. So when he has gone, but we found we had little to carry. Actually, there were certain things, right? His box was there, his shirt, his waist, kerosene lamp. Few things were there, cot, etc., etc. Okay, but now let me show you the picture. What you can notice here, nothing is left. Okay, everything is gone. Because what do you think the reason is? He left the room opened. Because when he ran, he just left the room open and he ran away. So what happened? Someone came and took most of the things. The room had been cleaned out. Actually, in the picture, you can see the cot and the chair and the table. But according to the story, even they were stolen. Nothing was left. But the room had been cleaned out, but not really. The thief had left behind one thing as a final insult. Why did he use the word insult? Instead of feeling bad for losing everything, he is saying he's feeling bad for not stealing one thing. What is that one thing? What was that? I asked. So I here is the narrator. The doctor said, "My vest, the dirty one." The fellow had such a sense of cleanliness. The rascal could have taken it and used it after washing it with soap and water. So he is angry here that the thief has not stolen that particular vest. Instead of getting angry that he has stolen all other things. Did you see the snake the next day, doctor? The doctor laughed. I have never seen it since. It was a snake which was taken with its own beauty. So I don't know what happened to that. It was impressed by its own beauty, and I don't know what might have happened to the snake. That's what the doctor answered. So children, this is the story. Hope you enjoyed the humor in the story. Okay, so in the next video, I want